Hello, you're listening to another episode of Our PAC Politics Podcast. Our podcast is brought to you by our organization, our United Resource PAC. If you don't know, we are a tax-exempt political organization. Hello, I am your host, Brittany McDowell, and again, thank you so much for tuning in. As you can tell, I am not as angry as I was on our last episode. I was completely livid last episode with everything that happened last week to the capital of the United States, to our democracy. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still feeling, as they say, some kind of way about it. I'm still angry, but my head is in a much better space. I am feeling more hopeful. But I actually don't want to spend today's episode talking about that. As much as I'd like to rehash some things, and as much as I'd like to examine what actually happened at the Capitol last week, I don't want to talk about that today. Today I want to talk about something that we really don't talk about on the show. You know, our organization is focused on COVID-19 economic stimulus and relief, and we really don't talk about the health aspects of COVID-19, which is totally like a no-brainer. Like, we should be talking about it, right? Even though we focus on economic stimulus, we still are overall focused on COVID-19. So today I very briefly want to look at something kind of from the health aspect of the whole situation. I'm not going to talk about stimulus. I briefly want to talk about this kind of premature mask mandate removal that we can anticipate seeing in the near future. It's really hard to fathom that at a point where we are, which is where we have over 4,000 Americans dying of COVID in a day, that some politicians would actively seek to remove mask mandates if they do have any at their local level. So we're going to talk about that again very briefly on today's shows. Also, I have as our resource for you a guide with information about masks. If we're talking about masks, you might want more information about masks. So that's what I have in store for you today. Shouldn't be a long show, but sit back, we'll get this show started, and then you can go on your merry little way, right? All right, let's go. Hey, this is Brittany. Just wanted to shoot you a quick reminder. Look in the description box of this episode and you can find a link to our website. On our website, you can find our latest blog posts. You can find our contact information. You even want to make a contribution, you can go over there and do that as well. You can find out the policies we are looking at and targeting as an organization. You know, I say all the time that we are a tax-exempt political organization. If you want to know more about that, again, go on over to our website, our-pac.com, where you can find out everything you want to know. You can do everything you want to do. We will gladly welcome you on our website with open arms. Again, check out our website in the description box below. There is a Republican governor by the name of Greg Gianforte, and he is planning to remove his state's mask mandate. He's Montana's new Republican governor, and he is saying, he's making it very well known that, hey, look, I'm going to be removing the statewide mask mandate. And the question that I pose to you is, should he be doing this? We're at a point where we're seeing 4,000 plus Americans a day die from COVID. And there's also reports out there that you might have heard that the vaccine is not being put into the arms of Americans fast enough. What I have to note here is that COVID doesn't stop at the state lines. People in Montana, they need to know that their governor is about to put them in grave danger. I don't know exactly what the numbers are in Montana, but let's assume for a hypothetical that things are happy dandy, happy pappy out there, and not a soul out there has COVID, which I doubt is the case, right? But even if things are good compared to other nearby states, again, COVID doesn't stop at the state line. So I want to use today's episode to just, again, very briefly urge people across the country to seek out and understand what their local politicians' COVID plans are since the vaccine. Everyone knew what the plans were before COVID, but what are they now? Are they just planning to let up? Are they planning to just say, oh, no more masks next week? What is the plan? Okay. But here's the deal. You can make a decision to be safe. Don't put your safety in the hands of people who don't care about your safety. You can be safe even when people around you choose not to be. So one of the newer things that we are doing on our podcast is we are referring people to or providing resources for people with each and every podcast episode that we do. So today I briefly talked about masks, and I made some of you who probably weren't aware of the fact that we do have politicians out there who are just ready to just say, well, no more masks, such as Greg Gianforte, right? But because you have the choice to still be safe, regardless of your politicians, your local politicians, and their desire to enact policies that promote safety, our resource today is one that will give you information about being safe. I'm sure you've probably already been wearing masks. More power to you. Thank you so much for that. But on today's resource, we want to share with you a CDC face mask guide. We did not create the guide. Again, it did come from the Centers of Disease and Control, the CDC. The guide is meant to help you choose the right face mask for you. And it also does share information about special considerations when you choose a mask, such as if you wear glasses, if you are picking a mask for children, wearing a mask in cold weather, which at least here we're contending with, and more kind of special considerations. Also, something that it kind of goes over that I will say that I didn't know is how to correctly take off a mask, because it's great to wear one, but if you kind of take it off incorrectly, you could almost undo all the safety precautions you just took by wearing the mask. So it's important to know how to correctly take off your mask. Also, one of the things that it points out is how to clean your mask, especially if you're wearing one of those cloth masks. But anywho, this resource, again, is not a resource we created, but it is a resource that we want to share with you. To get that resource, if you look in the description of this episode, you'll find a link to join our email list. As soon as you join the email list, we will push out an email to you with that information. And so hopefully you find it helpful. And if you find the resource helpful, please share it with others, because it does provide some very useful information in an easily digestible fashion on how to not just pick a mask, but how to wear a mask, how to clean a mask, how to take off a mask, and pretty much anything else you want to know about masks. All right, so again, check it out in the description box below by joining our email list. All right, so thank you for tuning in to today's episode on Monday, January 11th, 2021. It feels so weird to say that, right? I hope you have a great day, a great rest of your week, and I hope you took some useful information from today's very short podcast episode. Again, I did mention in today's episode one politician, the new governor of Montana, who is on a mission. He's on a mission to remove his state's mask mandate. But trust and believe me when I tell you that he is not the only governor in this position. Are there a lot? No, but there are others out there. And I do encourage each of you to actively seek out information about what it is your local politicians plan to do on the state level, city level, whatever the case might be. What is it that they plan to do now that there is a vaccine rolled out? Are they planning to kind of transition into a reality where everybody has, in some dream world automatically received a vaccine? Because that's a very critical piece of information here. Yes, the vaccines are here, but a whole bunch of people, more people don't have them than people who do have them. And so again, you need to be aware of what your politicians' plans are, because even if, I don't know. Just find out what their plans are, okay? Because you need to know the environment in which you are about to be. Are you going to be in an environment where most people around you are acting in a safe manner, or are you going to be thrust into an environment where you are living in this alternate reality where 4,000 plus people a day aren't dying of COVID, where COVID stops at the state lines, where, a whole bunch of people are automatically vaccinated, which we know is absolutely untrue, at least at this point. So find out what the deal is, but also most importantly, remember that your safety is in your hands, regardless of what kind of policies people want to put in place or remove. You ultimately have the decision to be safe or not. Even if they come out tomorrow at your local level and say, no more masks, newsflash, you can still decide to wear one. They cannot make you take a mask off if you decide to keep one on. So just keep that in mind, because I want you to be safe, okay? And as I always say, if you have a hazmat suit, now is not a bad time to break it out. Bust that boy out, because it's bad out there and it's not letting up. But we can all be safe and we can do this together. We just have to make smart decisions, intentional decisions, and I don't doubt for a second that you, my friend, are capable of doing that. That said, have a great Monday, and I will see you here in 2 days. Have a good one. Bye-bye.